Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my The Last of Us Part 2 Grounded Difficulty walkthrough, and this is episode 4 in which we'll be going through the first half of Ellie's second day in Seattle. And this of course is the first encounter, and getting through this encounter is actually really easy. Getting out of it though can be really trolly. You saw there in the beginning that I crouched and then started crawling the last bit out of that little diner. That is super important that you do, because if you don't start crawling, you will run a great risk of getting spotted by the dog handler and her friend. But getting through the rest of this, as I said, is super easy. All we're gonna do is follow the right side of this area and go through these buildings. And getting out can be finicky, and it's all because of this dog handler moving up right there, because that dog's pathing, you see, has the dog on a leash, but you will see the dog like clip through a brick wall. And sometimes it does that, and that can make it a little bit finicky to move up, because you want to get up as close behind these two as you dare. I was staying back a little bit because I moved up too far once before and I didn't want to run the risk of getting spotted. But as soon as he starts walking away, that's when we will make our move. When you get around the corner, start crouching so you move up a bit quicker. And going out through this door will feel like an eternity. But just tuck your balls and pray. I do get spotted while I'm in the process of opening it. If that happens, just commit to it and hopefully you will get through it without any problems. But the reason I got spotted, I think, was because I did wait a few seconds too long to move up to the door. You want to be really quick going up there. As soon as you see the dog handler starting to move away, that's when you have to go. And now we are a bit further on. You will get to a long street. And if you go down into the bottom right corner, you will get into, I think it's a toy store. And there is a way down into the cellar. And you saw me pick up a shotgun shell and a quarter of a rag. And that, as I think I mentioned in a previous video, there are fixed resource pickups, even on grounded mode. So I think it's really worth going down here to pick at least those two things up. And you also see me pick up some enhancement pills, I guess you could call them. I can't remember. Upgrade pills, I think they're called. Something like that. And as I've mentioned before, I have gone through this entire recording without doing any upgrades to either character or any weapon. And the only reason I chose to do it that way is because I didn't want to give myself any advantages that any of you may or may not have, because maybe you haven't found the same amount of resources that I do. So, and I always try to do my walkthroughs as bare bones as I feel that I can. But this is the street I was talking about. And that area was down behind me in the bottom right corner. And out here in the street, we are gonna take out two runners. And it's really important that you take these two out with silent methods. You can stealth kill this guy, or you can just kick the ever-loving shit out of him like I do. I prefer to do it that way because that will draw the attention of the second runner and I move back a little bit. The reason I decided to do this and not use any firearms or explosives is because in a diner to the right, where we are gonna head now, there is a shambler. And as I've said before, the shamblers, their hearing is just as good as the clickers. So if you make too much sound taking out those two runners, that shambler will start wobbling out into the street trying to find out what the hell is going on, since he can't see anything. And we don't want that kind of tension. But now I'm going in here because in the kitchen, which will be our exit when we leave this area, there is a runner pathing around, and he's gonna come out here into the bar. And I'm gonna take his ass out, so we will have a clear shot to get out of here later. But there are a few more things we're gonna do before we leave. But we just wait for him to move past. And we can sneak up behind him and do the lovely stealth kill. And now we're gonna head back out. But before we go back out into the street, I will also go into a room and pick up some resources. And to get into that room, you have to break a window. And that will get the attention of Shambler Boy inside the bar, but he will not pose a threat. And I'm gonna show you just how you're supposed to do this. So go up, break this window, mantle over, run in here and crouch down behind this. Almost looks like a hospital bed or something. There's no need to crawl, just crouch down. And you see the shambler coming out there? Because as long as you sit still, he does that growling, which is similar to the clicker's clicking sound. He will try to locate whatever the source of the sound was, but since he's blind and he doesn't, or his echolocating doesn't bounce off anything, he will just go back to his merry little path around the bar. He was probably an alcoholic before all this happened, so that's why he hangs out at the bars. And we are free to move out of this diner and over to the other side of this area. Because in this encounter, we will pick up the second holster for Ellie. Back in episode 2, where I covered the downtown area of Seattle Day 1, I picked up the small weapons holster, and in here we'll be picking up the big weapons holster. And as I mentioned in that video, I don't think it's entirely fixed which holster you get in which location. The locations where they drop is fixed, but which holster you will get, I don't think is 100%. But behind this door, there are about 5 runners in here. So what you want to do is prepare a Molotov, open the door, and as soon as your aim locks onto one of them, throw the Molotov. If you're super lucky, the Molotov will kill all of them. If you get a little bit unlucky like I did, you get one straggler coming out. No big problem, just kick her ass or his ass if it's a male. And if you get super unlucky, it has never happened to me, but I think maybe like 2 of them can come running out. But as long as they are burning, they take damage over time. And that's great about fire, that it does chip damage while the enemy is still burning. But what I said about firearms still counts, because if you fire a bullet or your shotgun or whatever over on this side, you will run the risk of the shambler hearing. And that is why I'm being super cautious right here. You saw after I'd killed everyone, I started panning over the buildings, because I wanted to make sure that he was not heading over here. Because if he comes, it's not a super big problem. Just create distance, move away from him, they are not very quick. And then try to stay silent and he will lose interest and go back into the bar quite quickly. But now that everything is calm and settled, I even closed the door for extra security. And now we are free to open the safe. And the code to this safe is 308265. And here we have the second holster. And there is a lot of good stuff in here. There are spare parts for your weapons if you wish to upgrade them. And I think there are even some pills and ammunition and explosives and all the stuff that makes going through the absolute highest difficulty a little bit easier. And you can see right there that I have a lot of resources. I have a lot of ammunition. And that is due to the fact that I very rarely, as you have seen throughout this guide so far, I very rarely use my weapons. I try to use them as little as possible. And I search through everything. Like here you will very soon see a little transition. That was because I went through every building, every room of every building, looking through everything. You saw right there. And looted all the stuff I could find before we start heading for the exit. Once you're sure that this place is picked clean, now we're gonna pass that shambler one last time. And this is just like when we went in here with the runner, except for the fact that the only thing that remains here now is Stud Muffin over there. If you want to make this even easier, feel free to use a bottle or a brick if you have that in your inventory. Throw it to the other side and he will chase after it. This is a bar after all, so if my memory doesn't fail me, which I don't think it does, there are bottles lying on the bar top, or whatever you call it. Desk. Something like that. So you can pick up a new bottle. Or else, just do like I did. Crawl on your stomach, he will be none the wiser, and as soon as you head out the kitchen back door, you're safe. And we can go on our merry way, and he will wobble about there until the end of time, probably. Or until maybe some wolf patrol or something comes across him and decides to obliterate his ass. But now we're outside, and we're safe. And here we get some foreshadowing. We pick up an arrow. It's very soon time to pick up the bow. After the next little encounter, which we'll face when we get up to the top of this staircase. And this is also one of those encounters that is super easy. You will see a really shitty edit on my behalf coming up right about now, I think. Yep, there we go. Because I overcomplicated this fight so much. There are two runners out here. There is one there to my right and there is one over to the left. All we need to do is head over that fence you see in the background. And I tried to do this super sneaky, super stealthy a few times. Then I got spotted by this one and thought to myself like fuck it and just bolted for the exit. And it works great. They will not follow you over the fence. They are like out of sight, out of mind. And now we go into the garage to pick up the bow, and you're gonna have to fight your first stalker in this game. If you want to, you can take this guy on using only your fists. I tried a few times, but I didn't manage to do it without taking damage. Because I wasn't super good at fighting stalkers at this point in the game, so I decided just dodge his swings, throw a bottle in his face, and then end him with a shotgun. Yeah. And I must say I was a bit disappointed with the bow in this game. It's not nearly as powerful as it was in the first game, but I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later. Because this encounter is the hardest part in this video, at least. You saw me running through that building. This is quite time sensitive because a lot of this is timed. So when you get up to this tall grass, don't stop crawling and follow the same path that I am taking. I'm moving over here to the left so I can crawl over where there is the shortest distance in between these patches of grass. That guy down there to the right is a dog handler. He will not see you if you're quick enough. And usually right about here you will get a prompt that a dog has caught your scent. Just ignore that. Because it is that dog handler, but if you continue moving on, he will lose track of you. And when you get up to this house, we're gonna move close to this porch and then just wedge yourself in the corner next to this staircase, because that woman up there, when she's walking on the porch, and it has happened to me, if I wasn't close enough to the staircase, she would look down from the stairs and spot me. And here I make a mistake, and I'm gonna tell you about it so you don't make the same mistake. If I had continued crawling there, I would have been out of this place scot-free. But no, I decided to crouch and got spotted. But that's okay, because as soon as you get down to that little fence, you've hit a checkpoint. So if you die or reset checkpoint, you will start back there. You will never have to go through the first part again. Thank God. Because that took me quite a few tries to get that path down properly and get through the entire part. And I was so angry at myself that I started crouching and didn't sneak through it instead. So just continue crawling. It will be much smoother, much easier, and no one will notice that you're there. And a good thing is, if you have to reset that checkpoint, all the enemies will de-aggro once again. So you'll get a smoother path through the second part. And now we reach another checkpoint, and you saw that by that lovely transition. Move into this room, throw a smoke grenade, and knock all three of these guys out and just run past them. We get up here, there will be a woman intercepting you, so we bolt through the hole in the wall, mantle out of the window, and just run. And something I'm gonna say now, and I want you to make a note of this if you plan to follow this walkthrough to get through this entire game. Keep 3 smoke grenades in your inventory at all times. Because smoke grenades are awesome. They, even when they aren't upgraded at all, they are so powerful. You saw all those 3 guys staggered. And when they are paralyzed or staggered or whatever you want to call it, you are free to stab their asses. But I'm gonna use smoke grenades to get through the last level of this game. And I would really advise that you do the same. So always try to keep 3 smoke grenades in your inventory. If you have 2 and you have the resources to make one, do it. And just let it sit in your inventory and you'll thank me later. I promise you that. But you saw when we got down to this part, or you may have seen that I decided to heal up. And that was because I took some damage going through the residential area, because I was an idiot and started crouching instead of crawling. I would recommend that you do that as well if you have taken any damage. Because our plan here is to steal the Jeep and get out of here, and this game will turn into a rail shooter. And since you don't have a life bar or a visual life bar on grounded mode, I'm not quite sure how it works with your health during the car chase sequence coming up. Because I would think that maybe your health resets when you jump into the car, but I'm not gonna swear that it does, so just as a precaution, heal up before you take off, basically. It will probably make your life a lot easier. Because I beat the car chase sequence on my first try, so if you fail it, I'm not quite sure where it restarts. And there was an instance later on in this walkthrough where I go into a mini-boss fight, and since I had taken damage earlier on, or in the previous encounter, I had to do that mini-boss flawlessly. Because one hit and I was dead. And I don't want you to end up in the same situation here. And you should have, if you have searched through everything and followed my strategies, you should have medkits in your inventory. But when we steal this car, the great thing about this car chase is that you are riding, so to speak, shotgun, even though you are using a handgun. But you have unlimited ammo in this little chase sequence. So feel free to let your gun rip. The only thing you're gonna have to do is reload when the clip is empty. I think you have 4 or 5 bullets in your clip. And when you start bolting away, this is the time to reload. Because first we're gonna have to take out these two riding back on this pickup truck. And this can be finicky. I know there is a tweak that when you aim your weapon, you will go into like bullet time. The game will slow down to 50%. If you're struggling with this part, feel free to go in and activate that tweak. There is no repercussions for using tweaks. And I just decided to use them for the sake of this. Decided not to use them for the sake of this walkthrough. But feel free to do so, and I think you can activate them on grounded mode even. I'm not quite sure, I may tell a lie. But I don't know if grounded mode locks you out of... I think they're actually called gameplay modifiers or something. You'll find them in the options menu. But now we're past the hardest part of this little chase sequence actually. All that remains now is that this clicker jumps up on the hood of your car. And I would suggest aim for his head to take him out as quickly as possible, as Jesse and Ellie crash into the Wolfman Gaming ending screen. And I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.